what's going around our nation and what's happening. But I can't stand before you today and preach and act like it's not going on. So if you see a little radical side of me, please understand I'm a black man living in the United States of America, and some days I'm upset. And if you're not upset, then I have to question where you live. I have a son who lives in Charlotte, and he was on Facebook shooting live from the demonstrations, and he calls me up and says, "Dad, I'm okay." I said, "Okay. Just be safe." I couldn't tell him don't go. I couldn't tell him don't march. And I didn't have to worry about him throwing no bricks or nothing because that's not my son. But we're living in a time where it's easy to become numb to everything that's going on. It's easy. There's so much. It's like every day, every week, there's something else. There's something else going on that just kind of... And then I had a friend ask me, well, what part of destruction and mayhem is demonstration about? And I had to explain to her, I said, listen, I do not, and I'll say this again, I do not support destruction of property in any way. But I had to tell her. You see, some of those young men have been suppressed for so long, have been pushed down, have had no way of releasing all that they've been dealing with for so long, that when it comes up as rage. And for some of us, we understand that. Because we've suppressed things, and anything that you suppress, even love, comes up as rage. Terrence Kirchner, Keith Lamont Scott, and 5 killed in Washington State. Lord have mercy. See, I like to name people. Lord, in your mercy. What do we do? And I looked at the scripture reading for the day and I said, okay, God, you're already walking with us. So let's dive in. Let's talk about Amos. First line of Amos talks about woe to the complacent. That's not us, right? We haven't become complacent. We haven't become comfortable. I read an article yesterday that says we are in the midst of the second civil rights movement. Did you ever thought there would have to be a second one? We're in the midst of a movement that is causing us to relook, rethink, and realize that we are in a time of what is God saying to us. Have we become so comfortable that sometimes we spared our kids, or we thought we were sparing our kids by not telling them about all that is going on, all that we struggle to get where we are today. I've listened to stories of what has had to happen so that how some of us can go out and vote, and yet people are talking about, I'm not going to vote because there's nobody to vote for. Tell that to those who are rolling over in their grave because they gave their lives so we have the right to vote. I was having a conversation yesterday and someone said, you know, folks have a habit of coming to us, and I'm talking about it for the most part, African Americans, Hispanics, and coming to us when things go crazy. When the world starts to fall apart, they come to you and ask, will you pray for me? Or they try to get close to us. And the question was why? And I had to answer, you know why? Because they realize we've been through so much, but yet we still stand. We've been through so much. God has brought us so far, and we're still standing. And yet all they do, we still stand. But sometimes we can become just like the Israelites, complacent, comfortable. We don't have to worry about that. That's not in my neighborhood. I don't have to worry about that's not in my backyard. I don't have to worry about those are not my kids. And then when it hits home, we cry, Lord, why me? Why not you? I heard a story about a man, bought himself a nice new Jaguar. My daddy always wanted a Jaguar, so we got him a Matchbox one, but bought a nice new Jaguar. He's driving down the street, and he's taking it slow because it's summertime, and he's afraid of, you know how kids dart in and out of cars, don't pay attention when they cross the street. I know our kids don't do that, right? No, we don't have that problem. And he's moving slowly, and all of a sudden he hears bang on the side of his car. He slams on the brake, runs out, and there's a brick just hit the side of his car. That's right, that look is exactly like, what's going on? And he sees this kid, and he runs up to the kid and says, what is wrong with you? Don't you know what you just did to my car? You just threw a brick. Why would you do that? Well, you're going to have to pay. And the young man says, I'm sorry, but no one else would stop. And my little brother fell out of his wheelchair, and he's too big, and I can't put him back in. And he's really scratched up, and he's afraid. I didn't know what else to do. And the man stood there, speechless, broken. And he said, I'll help. And he got up, and he helped the little boy back in his wheelchair. And he took out his nice new linen handkerchief, and he dabbed up his little bruises, and the little boy says to him, thank you, sir. God bless you. And slowly down the road they went. 3 years later, he's telling the story because someone asked him, why haven't you fixed the door on your Jaguar? And he said, because I don't want anybody else to have to throw a brick to get my attention. How many bricks are being thrown at us today, and we still are not waking up and letting it get our attention? I'm not talking about bricks going through windows in Charlotte. I'm talking about the fact that we are being killed, that our children are dying, that we who have the responsibility to do something, and the greatest thing to do is pray. And yet we do not even do that because we're comfortable. I believe that God is trying to get our attention as a nation. Wake up. What more have we gone through? We got ourselves a black president. Ain't that enough? Someone said that to me. I had to turn around and walk away because I was afraid what I might say. The reality is God is calling us to a relationship with Him. A relationship, I'm talking about a true relationship. I'm not talking about the ones we have with the people we see at work sometimes. Hey, how you doing? How you feeling? I'm fine. Good. You too? All right. And keep it moving. You saw them, they ain't crossed your mind again until tomorrow when you see them again. I'm talking about a relationship where you talk to that individual on a daily, sometimes twice a day, sometimes 3 times a day. A relationship. Because if we do not find ourselves in a place where we are calling out to God on a regular basis, we will find ourselves there anyway. Some of you here are old enough to remember when God was the only voice you had to call on who would listen. Some of us have been through some stuff and been in places where the only person we could call was God. But let's move on. Timothy. The reading from Timothy, I liked it. It says, but godliness actually is a means of great gain when accompanied by contentment. Here's the part that most people get a kick out of. Remember, for you brought nothing into this world, and you're going to take nothing with you. Sometimes we kind of forget that. You know, the scriptures tell us about a man who had a great harvest that year, and everything had gone. He had so much he brought in that he had to go buy. He went and built a bigger barn so he could keep it all in. And God called him home that night. And somebody else enjoyed his barn, all that he brought in, and all that he had. What are you saying, brother preacher? Should I give it all away? That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that how there's a place and a time when is enough enough? When is enough enough? When do we get to a place where we're comfortable with what we have, instead of every time we turn, we want more? The more we have, the more we want, the more we get, the more we work. The more we work, the more we spend. The more we spend, the more we have to work. More. When do we get content? When are we set to say, Lord, thank you? Do I say don't work? I love to say don't work. I love to say, okay, here you go. We're going to provide for everybody. You don't have to work. It doesn't work that way. We all have to work. But when do we stop reaching for those other things that sometimes are more luxury than anything else? When I begin to talk about stewardship, one thing you're going to hear is, does your house look better than the house of God. Just drop the seed, bam, drop the mic. When is enough enough? There are people who spend all their life working to get money. And when they get older, they would give all the money they have to get their health. We will do everything. We work. We go to work sick just to get some more. But yet, when we get sick, we give up every dime we have just to get healthy. Take care of yourselves. God does not desire for us to work ourselves in the ground until we have to roll you in here. I'm going to tell y'all now, I plan on being around for a while, but I'm going in the same way I came out. I'm walking out. Y'all ain't rolling me out. Why? Because God desires us to be a people of sufficient, a people of, He provides. Even sometimes when we don't know where it's coming from. And I'm not saying that we should not have. Please don't misinterpret what I'm saying. I'm not saying that God is blessing you, be a blessing. But let me tell you something. When your cup running over, it is not for you to go get another cup so you can store up some more. It is so that God blesses you so you can bless somebody else whose cup is empty and they can bring their cup underneath yours and they can get some in their cup. Amen. That's why you're blessed. You're not blessed so you can get more. You're blessed to be a blessing to others. That is the key. That is what we're called for. That is why God is consistently pushing us and blessing us. He's not blessing us because we're so good looking. Sorry, I looked in the mirror this morning and God said hi. And I said ha. It's not because of our looks. It's not because we're so good. God knows it's not because we're so good. It's because of His grace and mercy that He blesses us consistently. He watches out for us. He keeps us again and again from hurt, harm, and danger. He watches our going out and our coming in. He's always with us. And it isn't because we come to church on Sunday, might pray once in a while when something happens, because He loves us. And then let's jump to the gospel reading, my boy Lazarus. Whew, Lazarus. The rich man and Lazarus. Some days I feel like Lazarus every day. And I'm not going to get into this whole story about hell. We're not going to sit here and have a theological debate. Is hell real? No. But let me tell you something. There's this crazy story told of this young man who died and went to hell. And while he's there, he talks to the chief patron of hell. You call him what you want to call him. And he says, listen, give me 3 minutes. I have to get up there 3 minutes. I need to go talk to my friend, please. He begs for days and days. Finally, he says, go ahead. And he comes up to his friend, and he comes by his bed and wakes his friend up. Of course, you know his friend is afraid. He's like, I know you're dead. What are you doing here? He said, I came back to tell you something. How dare you call yourself my friend, and you never told me about Jesus? You never told me about saving grace. You never told me about there's an opportunity for me to go somewhere else but down. But yet, how many people do we say we love, and we never once told them about Jesus? We never once mentioned Jesus loves you, and it's more than just a story. It's real. We haven't told them that Jesus is the one who got us out of some of those situations. We kind of kept that to ourselves. We haven't told them that, you know something, let me tell you, I was sinking deep in sin, never to rise no more, but love lifted me. We haven't told them those stories because we keep those close. We don't want to look crazy, you know. They ain't one of them Jesus people again. But yet, we say we love them. How do we not share the goodness of God? How do we not tell somebody that Jesus loves you? How do we not share our own testimony? Amen. Someone said to me, let me tell you something. They said, you know, every time I come and try to witness to somebody, they got all these other things. They say, well, the Bible didn't say this and the Bible didn't say that. I said, let me tell you how you do it. Why don't you just tell them what Jesus has done for you? If Jesus hasn't done anything for you, see me after. We're going to have a little talk. Because I know Jesus has done something for every single person in this room. Young or old, it makes no difference. Tell them about that. Nobody can argue about my testimony. You can argue all day about what the Bible says and was it real. We can go into that for weeks. But you can't tell me what Jesus didn't do for me. I wouldn't be standing here if he hadn't saved me. And many of you have the same story. Different times, different places, same story. Because the one person in the story that remains the same is Jesus. We're called to go out and tell. We're called to share. We're called to be that one person who will take the extra step when everybody else is taking a step backwards. We're called to be prayer warriors, praying for this world, praying for each other. Please pray for me. Because the one thing that we all can do that will cost us nothing but time is pray. Lazarus, rich man, we're living in a world in a time where if some of us could, we'd probably run underneath the rock and pull it over our head. We look at our political situation and it's just... And they say, well, you're not supposed to talk about politics from the pulpit. Yeah, okay, I don't know what church they go to, but let's keep it real. All right, let's keep things real. I'm sorry, but this is who I am. We better wake up and pay attention to what's going on in our nation today. And don't be afraid to engage your friends in conversation about it. Because if we do not get out there and vote, I said enough. I said enough. What will it take? How many bricks does God have to throw at us? How many bricks does he have to hit our nice new cars, our lives, our families? And I'm not saying that God purposely just, no, not our God. Our God is a God of love. Please don't misinterpret what I'm saying. No, God does not bring calamity upon us. But sometimes he has to get our attention. We just had 9/11. We just talked about the Twin Towers going on, and churches were filled to the brim. He got our attention then. But how so quickly now, instead of talking about Jesus, we wave a flag. Don't burn my flag, or don't take a knee doing my national anthem. Oh, don't do that. People were mad and uproar when our quarterback decided he was not going to stand. But ain't nobody saying nothing about those young men who were killed and gunned down. There's silence when we talk about nothing is going on. We have to be the voice. We cannot be ashamed. We cannot be afraid. Talk to your friends. If we say we're really their friends, or we really love them. There was a young man who decided he wanted to see God. So he got up and he packed his little suitcase. He grabbed a 6-pack of root beer and some Twinkies. And he was off to go see God. Out the house he went, he's walking. He walked for about 3 blocks and started to get tired. And saw a park, and in the park there was an old man sitting down looking at the pigeons. The little boy decided to sit next to the old man, and since he was tired, he sat down next to the old man. Sat there for a little while and realized he was hungry, so he opened up his little suitcase and broke out a Twinkie and looked over the old man and said, would you like one? So he gives him a Twinkie, and the old man, he said, had this great smile. And he just sat there and ate Twinkies, and he shared his root beer, and they didn't say anything. They just sat there and smiled and watched the pigeons and just kind of took it easy. And then after a while, he realized it was getting kind of late. It was getting dark, and everything was gone, so he said bye, and he picked up his suitcase and started to head home. And he stopped, and he turned back, and he ran to the old man, and he gave him this huge hug, and he went on home, and the man smiled, and he smiled. And he got home, and he walked in his door, and his mother says, where have you been? He says, well, I was in the park talking to an old man. She said, and before she could say anything, she says, I met God too, and I didn't realize that, he's kind of old. And the old man went home, and his son met him at the door and says, Dad, where have you been? What have you been doing? He said, I just met God. He has a great smile, but he's younger than I thought he was. Have anyone met God for you? Have you been Christ in someone's life? Be willing to go that extra mile. Don't let fear stop you from being a Christian. Do not let fear stop you from doing what we're called to do, and that is love. The same love that lifted us is the love that will lift others through us. Let the love of God shine through you. Tell someone about the love of God. Don't be afraid to engage people in conversation about our political situation. But most importantly, pray, pray, pray. Amen.